So, I've been wanting to sprinkle in some mental health stuff for a while now. So, from time to time, I'm gonna sprinkle in a little mental health talk, pick me ups, if you will. If you're not into that type of thing, don't worry. It's gonna be sprinkled in, just a pinch, really. Not even a sprinkle, a pinch. So I'm gonna take you back a long time ago. I was about 17, 18, something like that. And I was a hot mess with my mental health. By the way, these mental health posts aren't always going to be about church or about me, but this one is. But I was a hot mess with my mental health. Not just typical teenage mental health stuff. And I know like today, teenagers, man, to grow up in these times, it's rough on their mental health. So it's not typical stuff like that. It was other stuff going on. It was next level stuff. And I didn't really know who to turn to, right? I didn't have a relationship with my parents to the point where I could be like, hey, I think I'm going nuts. What do I do? So I went to church. I don't remember where I was at faith-wise. I don't know if I was a Christian back then, or if I was just looking into it, or if I was just so desperate, maybe I'll try church. But I went to church with a friend of mine, and I asked for some help. I was going through it, and I remember being on one of their prayer nights, and I was in the sanctuary, and I was at the altar. It was dim. It was real dark in there. The only lights were at the altar. The rest of if you were at the altar and looking out to the sanctuary, to the people, you just see darkness. So I was there at the altar with the dim lights, and they were going to pray for me because I told them about some of my struggles. And I could see these figures walking up towards me. Now again, it was dark. So all I'm seeing are dark figures, people I don't know, starting to surround me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I had to bust out any Bruce Lee moves or what. I don't know what was going on. But they were surrounding me, and then they prayed for me in tongues. All of them just praying over me in tongues. Now I'm not mocking tongues. I believe in praying in tongues. It's biblical, but there is a time, a place, and a way, and this was not it. So there's praying in tongues over me, which was for a while, and then they just kind of went on their way and told me I'm good, yeah. And I wasn't good, by the way, but it was kind of like a Jedi mind trick, though. You know, they told me I'm good enough. Well, I'll be like, maybe I am good. I don't know. But now, I remember kind of getting a little bit worse at that point, because at that point, church was my last resort. And my last resort, they just prayed in tongues over me, which I didn't know about at the time. I did not know what praying in tongues was. It makes it even more strange. And so at this point, I don't know what to do, right? So kind of started spiraling out of control. And look, to be fair to that church, what I was going through, they were not equipped to deal with. So there's that. But that's kind of my point. If you were out of your depth, someone comes to you for help, and you don't have to be a church, it doesn't matter what. Someone comes to you for help. If you kind of acknowledge that you're out of your depth, then perhaps you need to counsel them to go find the right type of help, professional help, or someone who's dealt with what they're dealing with before, or whatever, or the right type of services, or whatever. That's kind of what you need to do in that area. It's kind of like if I had walked in with a stab wound, right? And I said, hey, somebody in the church, help me. I need help. I have a stab wound, right? And they just kind of gathered around me in the darkness and prayed in tongues over me, and then went on their way, said I'm good. That would be a problem, right? They wouldn't do that, right? And so with mental health, I feel like sometimes we treat it as lesser, and we should. Now, there are times when mental health is nothing more than a bad day, but that if you don't deal with that properly, it can turn into something big. And we're talking about me as a teenager at this point. If you're dealing with young people, that to them can be huge. No matter how much someone around them might dismiss them for whatever reason, right? So you kind of have to give them the help that they need, right? It was just a different time back then too. Like I said, like now you got so many apps you can turn to for mental health assistance. You can Google a bunch of services, stuff that back then, there wasn't that knowledge around it. There wasn't the resources that you got today. And we certainly need those resources today, right? On the flip side, I guess it was about a year or two afterwards, I went to a church again. I was dating somebody, and she was a part of a small group, and the leader of her small group at church was I won't say her name, but we'll call her a wise woman. And she took really good care of her small group. It was a group of girls. She took good care of them, and I had told the girl I was dating at the time that I was still really struggling, and it was real bad at that time. And so she got me in touch with her small group leader. And I didn't really know the small group leader all that well. I said hi and bye. She didn't know me that well. I don't even know if she liked me, to be honest. I mean, this is, I can see her thinking, like, who is this dude coming in, taking away one of my girls? You know what I'm saying? Whispering sweet nothings into her ears. But, so I don't even know if she liked me. But what I do remember all these years later is that she took time out of her busy day to show me some compassion, right? I don't remember whether my girlfriend at the time gave me her number and I called her, or if this wise woman called me. I don't remember, but she took time out of her day to listen to me, to give me some advice, to pray for me, but most importantly, to listen to me. Like, sometimes all it takes is, when you're struggling, is to know that somebody cares, right? And that act of compassion, I don't forget stuff like that. She may have saved my life that day, and that was truly helpful. All right, it spoke to me in that moment. She gave me what I needed in that moment, right? So this isn't me saying woe is me to the issues I had to deal with. No, I thank God for everything that I've had to go through, because it's made me strong. God has made me strong in the midst of that, right? This isn't me doing that. I'm just pointing out how we treat mental health sometimes, how we treat especially young people with mental health issues. How sometimes we're out of our depth, and because of our egos, we just mess things up. So we got to be careful how we deal with that kind of stuff, right? I feel like if somebody comes to you with help, someone comes to you for help and they're struggling, whatever, no matter the range of their mental health issues, someone comes to you for help, you have a responsibility, right? You could choose to dismiss them. You could choose to treat a stab wound with tongues, so to speak, or you could show them some compassion, real compassion, give them real support that they need, and if you need to, point them in the direction where they can get true help, right? You have those options. Hopefully you'll choose the right one. You know what the right one is, right? We have a responsibility. People come to us for help. And if you are struggling out there and you need help, then my advice is drop what you're doing in your life right now as much as you can, and find a community that can support you. Find some people who really care about you. And that can be tough, especially these days. It can be tough to find somebody that you trust, somebody who's knowledgeable, someone who can be gracious but still give you the push that you need. But man, having that support group is so important, right? So drop what you're doing. Again, nowadays there's so many services, so many helps online, so many apps. Do what you got to do. Find the right one that helps you and go with it, because you're going to need that support. Cool? All right. If you need to come to me, you need to track me down, I'll do what I can to help. Peace.